Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live session of first NPTEL live session of Environmental Geomechanics course. Myself, Bodhi, I'm a research scholar working under the supervision of Professor D.N. Singh. I am here with my colleagues who are working with Professor D.N. Singh doing their respective PhDs. Now, initially, we will introduce ourselves, followed by we will be taking questions which we have received for the past 1 week, as well as the live session questions, whatever we received. I'd request my colleague RSR to introduce himself as well as his topic.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first live session of the course Environmental Geomechanics 641. And I hope you are enjoying the contents of this course. And uh, feel free to ask the questions relevant to the content as well as the general questions on research related to environmental geomechanics. And at the outset, I would like to introduce that I'm Srinivas. I'm working I'm working for my PhD on the topic of gas-hydrate bearing sediments, which is one of the examples of multi-phase geomechanical issues under the supervision of Professor D.N. Singh. Thank you very much.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. My name is Singh Manohar. I joined Professor DNC Research Group this July, and currently I'm working on risk associated with geological carbon sequestration. Mainly, I will focus what are the risks encountered during the injection of the CO2 in the geological reservoir.
Thank you very much, Singh. Fatla?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Fakira Rashid. I'm a second year research scholar and working with Professor D.N. Singh. And I'm working in the field of energy geotechnics to specify on geothermal energy and how it can be extracted from the oil wells that have been abandoned. So my main focus is on the heat and transfer that is taking place in the subsurface. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Fakra. PS?
Yeah, hello all. I am Dr. Singh. I am in my second year of PhD, and I am working on utilizing of waste rubber tires. So basically, I'm trying to replace sands and gravels using waste materials from rubber tires or any other type of rubber. And I'm trying to utilize the property of this material to solve other problems of the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pritendra. Ninal?
Hello all. Good evening. My name is Mrunal Bokade. I am a first year research scholar under supervision of Professor D.N. Singh. I am working on the area of valorization of dead sediments, wherein I am venturing into man-made soils.
Thank you very much, Ninal. Yogendra?
Good evening, all. I am Yogendra Narayanan. I am a first year research scholar under the supervision of Professor D.N. Singh. I will be working in the domain of geological carbon storage in deep soil and aquifers. My motto is to study the interaction of CO2 and brine when CO2 is injected into the reservoir in which in deep soil and aquifers.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yogi. Myself, as I mentioned, Goli, and I'm working on the topic of landfill mining and how to utilize different materials or fractions comes out of landfill mining activity as secondary or man-made resources. In specific, we are venturing into how to characterize these materials and how to develop methodologies that will enable us to characterize the landfill mine residues. Also, I'm working on recycling of polymers, plastics waste that comes from landfill mining activity to create polymer composites. So you might have observed that we are working on a diverse areas specific to waste management theme as well as CO2 sequestration theme related to different issues. So we'll be taking the questions which we have received for the past 1 week, and later on we will take live session questions. Meanwhile, I'll request all the participants to ask your questions. Feel free to post your questions on the YouTube chat box. Okay. Okay, the first question was by Akash Desai. This question is, what are the risks and hazards associated with soil pollution and how to keep a check on soil health? So, thank you very much, Akash. First of all, it's a very interesting question. But you might have observed from Professor DN Singh's lectures during the course that you that risk soil definition itself depends on the type of application that you are looking at. So even the risk is also related to that only. It depends on the application which you are looking at. So in general, when we are looking at soil contamination activity, like there are several pollutants, kind of organic pollutants as well as inorganic pollutants. Organic pollutants, mostly we are concerned about heavy metals such as cadmium, nickel, cobalt, zinc, copper, etc. So the risks associated with majorly depends on the permissible concentrations as well as the concentration that you will be having in soils. So this index can be calculated. There are several indices which will indicate the extent of pollution. So and the permissible limits of those indexes. There is a lot of research going on in this area, like be it ecotoxicity of soils for plants, which is nothing but for agricultural activities, as well as ecotoxicity of plants for other applications like civil engineering, construction activities, as well as what is the effect of contamination of soil on living organisms, food chains, etc. So this is how we can try to understand the extent of soil pollution, and the same parameters can be used to find out the soil health. For example, in agricultural engineering applications, like there are several parameters: pH, electrical conductivity, then followed by dissolved solids as well as leachable heavy metal contents, then cation exchange capacity, which Professor had already discussed in the lecture. All these parameters actually help us in identifying the condition of the soil, whether it is good, having good health to use for certain application or not. Apart from this, one of the major parameters that decide the soil health, be it for agricultural applications or be it for infrastructure development application, is organic matter, wherein our group is doing a lot of research right now with respect to how organic matter actually decides the fate of any geomaterial, be it soils or any other waste material. So you will understand slowly that organic matter is the pivotal thing, be it in carrying nutrients like NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium in agricultural activities, or be it in terms of strength properties of a soil in geotechnical engineering applications. All these things will depend on organic matter. And go through Professor Singh's profile for more details on related research on how organic matter actually decides the fate of soil, and how organic matter actually decides the fate of the soil, to what extent the contamination of the material is suitable for the intended application. Okay. Any, any add to this answer? Okay.
So actually, it is a very interesting question. Like it has two parts we see. So like first thing is that how the contamination of soil, like what is the consequences of it. First thing. So as we know that soil is the like integral part of our society. Like we have to use it for several purposes. For name it anything. It may be infrastructure development, making roads, making buildings, or you are going to use it for agricultural purpose. And like these contaminants, like they change the properties, whatever we are trying to achieve it, and what we will be getting from that material. So like that's where the reason comes, that why we should take care of those contaminants, and why we should remove them, or we should make them up to our like limit values that we could use it. So as Goli has already mentioned, like what are the parameters or what are the methods using which we can determine the level of contamination, and accordingly we can take a call like whether we can use this material for certain purpose or not. So I think that will be helpful if you go through like our profiles from Professor website, then you can understand more about it.
Yeah, so one of the kind of index professor has already discussed in the course, that is resonance index, which is actually defines the porosity of the soil on different structures that are being built up in the ground, surface. So this is only an example. Apart from this, to understand toxicity and hazardicity of soil and to understand leachability of different organic and inorganic contaminants, there are very well established methods like TCLP, toxicity characteristics leaching procedure, as well as STLP, synthetic leaching characteristic procedure, which are much uh, proposed by worldwide accepted agencies like USCPA, United States Environmental Protection Agency, etc., which you can refer to. These quotes are freely available. Whenever you want, you can refer to. Okay. So this clarifies your doubt. Yeah,
Yes, as Goli and Prithvinder Singh has already mentioned various parameters to monitor, especially those things we will do in the lab. And from the field monitoring point of view, like contamination levels or how the contaminant is migrating through the soil mass, there are some non-invasive techniques to name a few, like electrical resistivity tomography. And you can go through some of the papers available on this particular topic. And if you have any other doubts, then you can contact us. All the details are available in the website of Professor D.N. Singh. So we can discuss in detail if you have any further queries. Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Arisa. Okay, I think there are no online questions also, live session questions. So what I will suggest you is please go through the lectures carefully, and whenever you have doubts, please use the discussion form effectively so that we will be able to get back to your questions with suitable answers timely. Also, please feel free to contact us if you need any research articles related to this topic, etc. through our emails. You can go through Professor's website for more details. Okay. Thank you very much, and wish you a nice day. Thank you very much. Bye.